Listing prices are decreasing. Homes are sitting on the market. Are we in a buyer's market? What is a buyer's market? And if you're a seller, a buyer, or an agent, how can you take advantage of this new scenario? I'm going to get into all of that and more right now with you. But first, my name is Colin Steele. I am a local real estate agent here in Texas, specifically in Dallas, Fort Worth, the DFW Metroplex. And I've been doing this for quite a while. I've been getting a lot of questions about what's going on in the market. My sellers want to know, especially. Buyers seem to be faring a little bit better. What's going on? What's causing this? What is a buyer's market, et cetera, et cetera. First and foremost, this is not legal advice or financial advice. Just got to cover my butt. I am just a realtor, but I would like to break down some of the analytics with you and give you some of my on the boots feedback from what I'm hearing from clients and investors. So let's take a look. First and foremost, I wanted to show you some analytics that I can pull as an agent on MLS. Now, this is the platform that agents in Texas are going to be using, predominantly the baby boo-boo poo-poo agents who barely know how to use this thing. They're really just pulling comps with it, which is how they get valuations for properties and how they're able to advise their clients on how much they should list a property for or how much they should offer on a property if they're working with buyers who want to buy it, okay? This has so much more utility, and one of the things I love is the market watch category right here. You can kind of customize it a little bit. I've done 7 days and I've chosen residential, okay? So that's what all these numbers are based off of. So the first and the third bar I think are very important to give us an indicator of what's going on in the local market in the state of Texas. And I want to break it down for you. So the first one is new listing. That's 3,330 new listings have hit the market in the last 7 days. That's a lot of new inventory, guys. So don't forget about that. That's an important number. And the price decrease bar right here, this thing's even more significant. Okay, look at this bar. Whoo, dude, it's all the way. What that means is there have been 4,739 houses in the last 7 days that have decreased price. Agents and sellers are decreasing these houses to try to move inventory because they're not moving, okay? So prices are coming down and inventory is sitting. That's a good sign if you're in the market and a buyer. That's a really big indicator that we are in a buyer's market. And even more so, we are in a hub. Dallas-Fort Worth is like the next Silicon Valley. I'm going to get into all that with you here in just a sec. But we are in a hub, man. We're in an island. We have lots of job growth, lots of population moving in here. We're booming and growing even now. And those numbers don't lie. So we're in a bit of an island. We're isolated and protected in a very strong economy. And we're seeing those numbers here. I can't imagine what you're seeing if you're a local agent in some other states in smaller towns where you don't have a lot of influx of people, you don't have a lot of companies growing. You're probably seeing a much stronger buyer's market. But I would make the argument we're in a soft buyer's market here in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex. Based on those analytics alone and based on some of the specific experiences and feedback I'm getting from my clients and that I'm seeing on the ground. So let's dive in a little bit further on what a buyer's market is and are we in one. So Texas real estate broker, I think we are 100% in a buyer's market. This is ABC. So we're getting feedback from brokers and agents across the board that what we are experiencing right now is a buyer's market. So let's dig into that a little bit deeper. And what is that? So a buyer's market is just going to mean the market is more advantageous for buyers, where buyers are going to have more negotiating power than the sellers. And COVID, we were in a massive seller's market. Sellers had all of the negotiating power. There was not enough inventory to go around. You had multiple buyers jumping in, bidding up for the same property, offering over market price offers and still losing the property to another buyer. And especially here in Texas, where we had people flocking from California and New York, and they've got a lot of money, and the prices here in comparison are so much cheaper. They were happy to overpay because the caliber of home they could get here was still so much more cheaper than there, even if they were overpaying what the going rate was here locally. So that really boosted up numbers, and that created a pretty heavy hitting seller's market, which was very advantageous for the sellers. But that's not where we're at anymore. Again, inventory is going up, prices are coming down, and you're seeing a lot less buyers on the market too. So let's get into that first. Why are buyers so hesitant? Where'd they go? Why aren't they buying? Well, there's a few things that are affecting that. One is definitely going to be interest rates. Okay, as you know, interest rates are high. That's going to slow the buyers down. Okay, you've also priced buyers out. Buyers have less buying power on average because rates are higher. So they're getting approved for smaller loans, which means the amount of inventory or the amount of options they have for the inventory available is smaller. So buyers that were able, based on their income and credit, to buy a $300,000 home are now only getting approved for a little bit smaller of a home because interest rates have gone up. Okay. Also, it's just not as appealing. You get less preferred financing, your payment goes up, everything, right? So we did get the blip down, the 50 basis points cuts. That was about 0.5%, and great, that is good news. But it's just a blip, guys. And 2 weeks later, we blip back up just a little bit, not the full amount by any means, but interest rates have actually gone back up just a little bit as well, which pissed a lot of people off. And those who did not lock in that rate are now getting a little like a less favorable rate as well. So I actually ran into that problem right now negotiating with some sellers and buyers on a property where the buyers didn't lock in a few weeks ago, and now the rate's a little less preferable, and they're gonna have to bring a little bit more money to the table, and that's causing them to hesitate and try to decide whether or not they want to move forward. So that is impacting people. Another important factor is going to be the election. We are in an election cycle year. Pretty typical every election cycle year. Business kind of grid halts a little bit more and slows down. People are going to be less likely to make moves. They're waiting to see how the election pans out, not to get political, but a lot of people are waiting to see if we're going to get a more business friendly candidate in the office. And again, perception drives markets a lot of the time. So there is a perception that happens when you feel like you're going to have a better, healthier economy and you're going to do better in your job, et cetera, et cetera. That perception drives buyers to the market where they feel more comfortable to make those purchases. And so you got a lot of people holding their breaths. So that's another factor, okay? So maybe you are on the fence about buying, and you want to talk about, is it a good time to buy right now? And I would say absolutely, because we are in that buyer's market, okay? So great time to buy, in my opinion. The house prices are coming down. They're sitting. So sellers are far more reasonable for the first time in a long time. They're willing to negotiate. They're willing to sell at a lower price. So you've got leverage as a buyer. And a lot of buyers don't make the mistake of waiting till the bottom of the barrel because no one really knows where the bottom is. Could we crash down a lot more? Sure, we could maybe, but oftentimes the bottom of the bucket is closer than you think. And when you hold your breath, you miss the opportunity to jump in when things were opportune. And even if it does drop a good bit more between now and, let's say, spring of next year, in the long run, in the 3 to 5 to 10 year long run, when you're buying when things are trending down like they are right now, you're typically going to win. You're typically always going to win because prices are going to historically go up. And so in 10 years from now, you're going to be like, oh my God, dude, I wish I had bought at the end of 2024. I really wish I had, when sellers were really easy to negotiate with and being much more reasonable. Again, could you save some money maybe waiting? Of course, maybe you can. I am not Nostradamus. Things could trend down more. That's absolutely true. But oftentimes, people are waiting to eat their cake and eat it too. And so, for example, what could happen is you could end up waiting for this ideal scenario that never comes. And let's say they continue lowering interest rates, and then we get into spring after election year, everything cools off and calms down and starts warming up again. People start getting a little bit more positive about the economy, rates keep coming down more, and then the election fears are over. Well, now things could go back up. And now, yeah, maybe you get a little bit better interest rate, but the negotiable sellers are gone. The markets start going back up again and you missed your opportunity. So you should definitely take those things into consideration when making a decision, because you might miss the golden opportunity to win on the front end, trying to save a little bit of money on the back end on the financing side. And just keep in mind too, you can always refinance. So if you do get better rates later on, which is likely, they're probably going to come down, and you can just refinance. And so you can capitalize on those rates and never pay most of that interest to begin with. And if you're willing to take a higher interest now to save on the price on the front end, that's a good deal. That's a good deal. I'd much rather, me personally, not financial advice, but me personally, I'd rather save on the price and figure out the financing later on, because there's always the opportunity when financing rates get more, I would say, more preferential, you can refinance. So you're not locked in. A lot of people are not marrying their 30-year mortgage anymore. They're refinancing. All right, so let's dive into another way. If you are a fence sitter and you do agree, hey, this is a good market, I definitely would like to take advantage of this. Whether you're someone who can just barely buy and you're buying your first home, or whether you're an investor, someone with lots of buying power, and you really want to seize the opportunity. So, another way to hedge your bet is to buy in an area like this area, like Dallas Fort Worth, where you have a lot of growth. So if the market does trend down even further, there's going to be a lot of other places and a lot of other states that are going to feel that impact way harder. We are sheltered on an island here in Dallas Fort Worth where we have a lot of factors that are going to protect us and keep us going and keep us in a healthier market that a lot of places don't have. So let's dig into that. So my first point that I would show is I would pull up this article. The Texan, well, damn. There we go. Sorry. So Fort Worth ranked as the fastest growing city in America. Now, this article came out in 2023. So in 2023, Fort Worth was the #1 fastest growing city in the nation. That's a big deal. You got a lot of people coming in here. That's going to create a lot of buyers. That's going to create a lot of stability. They're bringing their money, their equity, everything, right? So they're here, they're working, they're, going to be creating businesses. That's going to drive the economy. So it's a good thing to have it growing. We've got a lot of growth in this area. And if you're not sold yet, let's look at another one. Dallas-Fort Worth leads all metro areas in population growth. Again, 2022, 2023, lots of growth. This area is booming. Okay, and it's not just people moving here, it's companies are moving here, which is another reason that's going to stabilize this area and this locale. They're going to create jobs. So let's dig into that a little bit. So this is the ARC relocation, Lone Star versus Silicon Valley. And again, guys, dude, over the next 5 to 10 years, this is the next Silicon Valley. You've got tech companies. We're going to get into it. You got so many cool companies, finance companies, you name it, all moving here. We've got better policies. We've got better taxes. We've got way better business-friendly environments, and it's driving companies here out of the less business-friendly states. That's going to create jobs and stability as these companies build and grow and get established locally in the Texas area. All right, so let's dive into it a little bit. Now, a lot of these companies are already here. Oracle, they're already here. Apple, Elon Musk, Tesla, everyone knows Tesla, huge. Hewlett, Amazon, lots of other tech companies, Graintown Labs. Dude, everyone's moving here, okay? These companies are going to create stability that is going to protect your asset. If you put your money into real estate in these areas rather than other areas that don't have the stability, that don't have the job growth, you're going to be more protected. So if you're concerned that there could be a bit of a cliff or a drop off, that we're not at the bottom yet, and that could be true, but you realize this is the opportunity, this is a buyer's market, and you want to be able to pull the trigger, and you don't want to wait and miss the opportunity, this can give you some of the reassurances to go ahead and move forward, because you're going to be able to have a little bit of protection if the rest of the economy does continue to trend down a little bit, because these things are going to stabilize this area in Texas. Let's dig in a little bit more. Here's another big one. Dallas continues to make strides. Oh, this is a huge one. Let me find it. Sorry, guys. I had this. Okay, yeah, here it is. Let me just highlight this for y'all. So Goldman Sachs is building a $500 million tower. Its second largest building. Wells Fargo, 2 towers. Charles Schwab, dude, everyone is moving here. These are financial giants. That's going to create a lot of jobs, a lot of local business getting done here, taxes being paid here. It's huge. So again, guys, you got people, you got businesses all moving here, driving growth, driving job opportunity. While a lot of areas are going to be stagnant or suffering, we're still growing. That is going to protect your asset. If you're tired of looking at your money sit in a bank account while inflation sucks and your buying power is getting eaten up and groceries are 50% up and inflation, they say it's 7, 8, 9% or whatever, but most regular people are feeling the heat way more. If you're going to the grocery store, you're buying milk or something, those things are way more up than single digits, right? And so your buying power is going down. Plus they like to print a lot of money, and every time more dollars hit, your dollars become less valuable. So again, if you're looking for a good place to set your money, real estate is a tried and true and proven one. As my mentor always says, they're not making any more land. And this area over the next 10 years is going to be a massive hub. It already is, and it's growing, and we're going to typically retain a lot of the favorable policies that are good for business while having some fairly reasonable, open-minded, progressive policies that is going to allow a lot of other people who have different mindsets to still be able to thrive here and be okay with it. So again, big, awesome opportunity. The market is primed if you're a buyer. Now is the time, and I've gone over all the reasons why I think, from analytics to data, on why it's such a good opportunity, and it is a buyer's market, okay guys? So there's always a way to win. And this is one of the ways, especially if you're a buyer, okay? So everyone always thinks it's either a zero sum. No. If it's a seller's market, there's a way to win. If there's a buyer's market, there's a way to win, okay? There's always a way to win, okay? And if you've got some dry gunpowder, cash, or even if you just don't have a home and you've got all the benefits of being a first-time home buyer, you can get a lot of preferred financing opportunity that way. So seriously, guys, if you're in the market or you're considering it and you want to work with an agent and don't have one in Dallas-Fort Worth, hit me up. I would love to help you. If you're local, I'd meet for a coffee or a drink or whatever, and we can talk more about the analytics and all of the different things to setting you up so that you can start becoming a real estate investor, whether it's buying a home to live in with your family or your future family, or whether you are interested in becoming an investor and utilizing all of the awesome opportunities that comes with owning real estate. And one final note, if you're still not sold and you still think the bubble's going to pop and we're going to fly off this cliff, which again, anything could happen. A meteor could hit us tomorrow. Nothing is guaranteed for sure. But there's another analytic that I want to go over, and then I'll wrap this up, on why I don't think we're going to hit some massive housing market crisis, okay? And we do have a staple. So during COVID and prior, when interest rates were very low, you had a lot of people capitalizing and taking out mortgages. So there's a lot of people holding these under 2s and 2s and 3s and 4% interest rates that they don't want to give these mortgages up. Even if they're hurting a little bit, they're really incentivized to hold on to those mortgages and not bring those houses to the market. So that's preventing a heavier oversaturation of inventory, because if we get a massive saturation of inventory, that could potentially cause a housing crash. But there are a lot of people who do not want to have to buy another home at 7% or 8% or 9% or 6%. They don't want to do that. They've got a 2.3 and they don't want to lose it. So they're going to hold on to their house because they don't want to have to deal with the mortgage rates that if they were to turn around and buy another house right now. Even if they were to downsize into a cheaper home, that's not going to be as beneficial anymore because the rates are so much higher. It's eating up a lot of those margins. And so again, there's a lot of people who have houses with extremely favorable mortgages that don't want to lose those mortgages. They might not ever see rates like that again. Who knows? And so who could blame them? So that's creating some stability in the market and preventing a more oversaturation of inventory, which is not what we want to see. What we're seeing right now is a healthy amount of inventory hit the market that's driving prices down, that's causing homes to sit, and it's making it opportune if you're a buyer right now to get into the market. So to wrap it up, I know I've mostly addressed buyers and sellers, but if you are also an agent and you're new, or you're coming from the COVID market, another strategy you should probably be taking is during COVID, when we were in a seller's market, it was far more preferable to work with listings and sellers. You had all of your cake and were eating it too if you had listings because the buyers were flocking to you. You did all the work up front, got the property listed, and then the offers just rolled in. So if you could get listings, you were very staple as an agent. That's not necessarily the case anymore now. Listings are taking a little bit longer to sell. And so as an agent, if you're a baby agent and you're trying to focus and you're trying to figure out how to navigate this shifting environment and this shifting market, what you should probably be looking into is how do I get more buyers? How do I start working with more buyers who have real buying power? They're serious and they're professional and they want to work with you. So that should be a strategy as an agent you're looking into to create more stability, because if you've got real buyers with real buying power who are pre-approved and they want to buy property, those are wins for you as an agent. Not that you should deny listings. Listings are great. Nothing happens without the house. You still need the asset for the closing to happen. But just keep in mind, based on all the analytics, these things are sitting. My listings are sitting too. And that's just what the market is right now. It doesn't necessarily mean you're a bad agent. So if you're a bad agent and you are listing, or you feel like you're a bad agent and you have listings, it might not be you. But I would recommend with new clients and new sellers and new listings being very honest about expectations with where we are at in the market, because some people just still need to sell, and you can still set realistic expectations and make sure they go in knowing what to expect so it doesn't feel like a massive loss to them, and you can still help your clients make lots of money. But you've got to take in this new market into consideration and what's going on. That way you're not having to do all these massive reductions, and maybe you're not sitting for 3, 4, 5 months on the market as a residential property, because they're doing it. They're sitting, man. You got houses 100 plus days on the market, lots of them, and they're reducing because they started too high. I've got a property that was like that, and we came in right at the shift back in July. You go back to June, May, properties were still kind of moving, man. Not what they were in COVID, but you weren't sweating 3, 4 months. Now, dude, just go on Zillow. You don't have to be an expert. You don't have to be an agent. And just start clicking on properties, and you're going to see 30, 45, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100 plus days on the market. DOM, days on the market. It's happening, guys. So if you're a buyer, this is a great opportunity, and I could not recommend more to start looking into this and start weighing the options if you are someone who is in the market to acquire real estate, because I truly believe it's a great opportunity and a great time to buy, and you're taking advantage of a lot of factors like this contentious election, a lot of more hesitant buyers, higher rates that are kind of driving the market down. Houses are starting to correct on price. They're starting to get more reasonable. And so you as a buyer are going to have a lot more leverage right now to negotiate for a good deal up front. Even though you're taking on a higher interest rate, you're saving a lot of that money up front on the price. And that's a better way, in my opinion, because again, once you buy a house, that's done. You paid for it, it's done. That's what you bought it for. You can't go back and renegotiate price. But you can go back and refinance your property and get a more preferable interest rate later on. And that interest accrues over the life of the loan. So if you do that in a year or two, a lot of that interest will never be paid, will never be realized. And so you're stressing, or you're paying down for points for interest that you're never going to pay if you plan on doing a refinance when rates get down a little bit lower, which they most likely will. So that's my 2 cents on the matter, guys. I really hope you found this valuable. I'm new to this whole YouTube thing, so if you did stick to the end, I really appreciate you again. Please like and subscribe. I want to grow this channel. I want to be able to help y'all. I'm also going to spend some time on other videos talking about other subjects, because when it comes to real estate and business, there's a lot of things that play in, like politics. Those impact business and real estate because of policies, regulations, you name it. And I also think I'd like to talk and share some of the other things I like to get into for fun, keep it a little more lighthearted. So I really hope you found this valuable. Again, my name is Colin Steele, Mr. Steele. I am a local real estate agent in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. So if you are looking for an agent, have any questions, or looking to buy in this area and need an agent, I'd be happy to work with you. I'd be happy to sit down, go over any questions you have. I'm going to leave my business email, my real estate email, in the comment description below. description below, sorry, and I'll also try to answer any comments that you put in. Obviously, I'm still new to this, so bear with me, but thanks so much for tuning in. I really appreciate you, and have a good one. Peace.